over 44 billion rand is owed to Eskom by the country's municipalities. A municipality in the Free State has been ordered by the Supreme Court of Appeal to pay over 100 million rand it owes to the power utility. Now, Eskom has described the judgment as the biggest legal victory against municipalities indebted to it. Joining me now for this conversation is Eskom spokesperson Sikonathi Mantshantsha. Mr. Mantshantsha, thank you very much for your time. This court victory at the Supreme Court of Appeals, tell us in practice what it means for you as Eskom.
Good morning, Tolani. The decision of the Supreme Court of Appeal really did reaffirm the obligation of municipalities, not just the municipality in question here, but all municipalities to pay for the services they receive from Eskom for the provision of electricity. There have been some conflicting decisions in the past, both in the High Court and indeed in the Supreme Court, where some municipalities have actually gotten away with paying for services that they derived. And now this really clearly reinforces Eskom's claim to revenues that it should be claiming from the municipality, and allows Eskom actually to be in a position to go and try and recover some of that 44 billion rand that is owed by non-paying municipalities.
The court decision, Mr. Mantshantsha, going as far as to put some deadlines, or should I say timelines, to say within 30 days of receiving an invoice from Eskom, a particular municipality that obviously owes the utility should pay within that time if there is no cooperation. How do you plan to enforce the court order?
There are various mechanisms that can be employed to enforce that court order. Amongst others is to go directly to the National Treasury and claim directly that particular municipality's share to be paid to Eskom of the electricity services, instead of going to a municipality where it then gets misused and never reaches the supplier, which is Eskom. There are other actions that are still open to Eskom, including, where possible, attaching bank accounts and indeed some movable assets of municipalities. Of course, this Eskom will do in a manner that does not further cripple the capacity of these municipalities to be able to deliver the services that the community expects from them. It will also be done, of course, in a manner that allows the municipalities to still be able to go collect the revenue from their customers, who, it must always be said, actually pay for their services to the municipalities, but in many instances the monies or the revenue for electricity does not reach Eskom.
Yeah, you've used the words in your statement referring to this judgment as quote-unquote groundbreaking. And the question I'm going to ask you is quite similar to what I've just asked. And the reason I do that is that despite the best efforts by Eskom to try help these municipalities that owe you these millions of rand, the municipalities have simply reneged. They would come to some kind of payment arrangement with you, but they renege on that particular agreement. Again, I ask, just how it is that you plan to recover these monies?
They owe billions, not millions, about 44 billion rand in outstanding municipal debt. It's not a straightforward issue to just get the money out of the municipalities. As we have experienced in the past, they are quick to run to court. And of course, in many instances, the one biggest weapon that Eskom can use is not exactly available to Eskom, where it can just switch off supply to those municipalities, because that disadvantages the customers who have actually paid for their accounts. So the methods I mentioned earlier is to go to National Treasury and armed with this particular judgment of the Supreme Court of Appeal and say, you owe it to the people of South Africa to deliver not to the municipalities but to Eskom the revenue share of that particular municipality. to pay to pay its accounts and make sure that we are able to sustainably supply electricity to the municipality. I have also said Eskom still has the option of attaching bank accounts, which it has, and there are some bank accounts that are under the control of Eskom from some of the municipalities. That is a step that we would, of course, try to avoid at all costs, but work with municipalities and make sure that we do not further cripple their ability to provide the services that the communities and the people of South Africa expect from them. This gives us more ammunition to be able to negotiate and actually enforce these debt repayment plans that municipalities have entered into. Let me repeat again, the biggest weapon is now that National Treasury will look more favorably to our approaches when the Supreme Court of Appeal has actually reaffirmed Eskom's right to be paid for services it provides to the municipalities.
Away from debt issues, let's talk about the state of the national grid on the back of the heavy rains we are seeing. How's Eskom looking?
Today and the next few days, the system is looking good. We just have just under 30,000 megawatts of capacity available to supply, which is normally sufficient during the summer months. We have limited our breakdowns to now just under 13,000 megawatts of capacity. Again, that allows us to supply the whole country without interruptions. That being said, we must always advise and caution the people of South Africa that the machines do break any time, as they do even today, except we have managed to keep the breakdowns at the lowest possible. They do break, and then the situation does change at some point. We have indeed warned the people of South Africa and said this week we will be looking good since we were able to return about 12 generation units to service over the past 3 to 4 days. So we are looking good at this particular point. The reality, though, is at some point in the future, and of course this year we do expect much higher load shedding than we have had, as we have communicated since January consistently, because of the many breakdowns and of course the long-term outage at the Kuberg power station and the breakdowns the breakdown of that unit at Medupi power station.
All right, Sikonathi Mantshantsha, spokesperson of the power utility Eskom. Thank you very much for that.